human ear. Now coming to the structure first. When we talk about the structure, we say, the first thing what we should know is our ear performs two sensory functions. One we are quite aware of, that is hearing. But second is maintenance of body balance. Clear? Now, when we talk about the structure, it consists of three parts. And these parts are external ear, middle ear, and internal ear. Now, external, which includes only the pinna, outer cartilaginous flap, as well as the external auditory meatus, which we also call auditory canal. Now, here comes the tympanic membrane in between. Okay, this tympanic membrane separates the external ear from the middle ear, and the middle ear is air-filled chamber. Air-filled chamber, which connected to the pharynx by an Eustachian tube. From here, the Eustachian tube leads to the pharynx. This is tympanic membrane. We will draw the complete structure, but this is how the layout we have to write first. Then this middle ear communicates with the internal ear through oval window as well as the round window. Clear? The round window and the oval window together leads to the internal ear. And the internal ear, the inner ear, it is fluid filled, not air filled. It's fluid filled chamber, and is the chamber which contains the fluid is known as labyrinth. Labyrinth, labyrinth. Okay, it has two parts, outer labyrinth as well as the inner labyrinth. In this outer labyrinth, the membranous labyrinth is floating in the perilymph with the fluid endolymph. First we will draw the structure, then we will come to the detail of this internal ear. Let's draw the diagram. From here, we see extends the auditory meatus, where the tympanic membrane allows it to move into the middle ear and the internal ear. Then from here starts the cochlea, the worm-like projection, and the nerve goes up. Here are the sacculae, utricle, and the macula. Then when we talk about this, we will say this is the structure more or less. What does it look like? Now let's draw a bigger pinna, bit bigger. Here, this one is pinna, then is the auditory canal. This is the auditory canal. Then it leads to the tympanum. Then there are 3 ear ossicles, Melasynchus and stapes, which are located all together here. Melis, incus and stapes. We call them ear ossicles and the smallest bones. Hammer, anvil, stirrup is the other name given to it. Then comes the eustachian tube, which leads to the pharynx. Then comes the oval window. This is the oval window. Then is this coil structure known as cochlea, and this is cochlear nerve, which is going to the brain, and these tiny projections here are the vestibules. These are the vestibules. And these 3 are the semicircular canals. This is the basic structure that we know. Clear? This is what we should know, that what all is present in the ear. Okay, moving to its detailed portion of, that is the internal ear. When we are talking about the internal ear, we are talking about a little its fluid filled part. We say inner ear, it has labyrinth, which is having an outer as well as inner part. Clear? The outer one, it is bony, and in this bony outer labyrinth there floats membranous labyrinth. And inside the membranous labyrinth there floats the perilymph. This membranous labyrinth, it is fluid based, and when the fluid which is present in it is known as endolymph. So what do we know? We know by now that the bony structure, it has membranous labyrinth which is floating in perilymph, but this membranous labyrinth, it itself has a fluid known as endolymph. Clear? Now, the cochlea. What is cochlea? This labyrinth that we are talking about, it is further divided into cochlea and the vestibular apparatus. If you remember, the cochlea, this worm-like projection, and vestibules were which were drawn with blue. Clear? So these are the 2 further divisions of labyrinth. Cochlea. Cochlea is the coiled portion, and it has membranes. Membranes like resinous membrane and basilar membrane. Which divide the perilymph filled bony labyrinth into upper scala vestibuli and lower scala tympani. Means this bony labyrinth got divided because of this resinous and the basilar membrane into sections. Upper section, scala vestibuli, lower section, scala tympani, and the middle section, scala media, which contains endolymph, right? We say this membranous labyrinth has a fluid endolymph in it, and this entire structure is suspended in perilymph. This further is divided into three parts: upper, median, and lower. And there is an elastic membrane, tectorial membrane, which lies on the over the rows of hair cells. So the structure looks like here. We are dividing that how the upper and the lower part is internally showing parts. This is the internal section of cochlea, which is showing us the divisions. Now, I'll draw the cells because this membrane is made up of cells. Clear? Then another one here, and the third one here, showing this kind of structure. Over here we have to make a coiled structure with hair cells in it. Now let's label it and get to know what all have we drawn. This upper part, this is the sectional view of cochlea. Sectional view of cochlea, that means the inner view. It's important, children. The upper part is scala vestibuli. Alright, it has a membrane. It is known as resinous membrane, R-E-I-S-S-N-E-R, resinous membrane. Then a thread-like membrane, another one, which is resting all along. It is tectorial membrane. Tectorial membrane. This curved structure is organ of Corti. Clear? Then this structure is resting onto a membrane which is known as basilar membrane. Then this central region, obviously we marked it scala media, and the lower one, third one, it would be scala tympani. Alright, this coiled worm-like structure, when cut in a section, it shows these membranes. Again, I'm explaining. Inner ear is a fluid-filled chamber called labyrinth. It has two parts: the outer bony, inside which the membranous labyrinth is floating, and the fluid in which it is floating, that is known as perilymph. And membranous labyrinth further has a fluid in it which is known as endolymph. Now this labyrinth is divided into two parts: the cochlea and the vestibular apparatus. This is the structure of cochlea. Cochlea is the coiled portion. Its membranes: resinar membrane, basilar membrane, the other one basilar. These divide, resinar and basilar membrane divides it into three parts: upper scala vestibuli, this is scala media, the middle one, and the scala tympani, lower one. All three are filled in with a fluid known as endolymph. Organ of Corti, we have listed here. It is the structural unit of hearing. We call it structural unit of hearing. क्लियर. इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ हेयर सेल्स, मतलब इसके पास क्या होती हैं, हेयर सेल होती हैं. किस लिए? हेयर सेल्स के ऊपर ऑडिटरी रिसेप्टर्स होते हैं विच आर लोकेटेड ऑन द बेसिलर मेम्ब्रेन एज वेल. ऑल राइट, सो वी राइट organ of Corti. It is the structural unit and consists of hair cells, which are the auditory receptor and is located, where is it located? On the basilar membrane. Basilar membrane. We have talked about this thin tectorial membrane also, which lies over the hair cells. ये सारे जो hair cells हैं इनके ऊपर क्या है, ये tectorial membrane है. अब आते हैं, this was about the cochlea. Clear? The structure of cochlea in the inner ear. When we talk about vestibular region, the vestibular apparatus it is composed of 3 semicircular canals. Remember, this way I had drawn. These are the 3 semicircular canals and an otolith organ. So it has semicircular canals, otolith organ. This is also known as vestibule. That's why the structure is vestibular apparatus. This vestibule consists of utricle and saccule. Utricle and saccule, saccule. Alright. These basically are the specific receptors of the vestibular apparatus. And there is one more specific receptor that we call cristae ampullaris. CRSTA. Crista ampullaris, along with macula. These are the receptors, and these receptors are located in the vestibular region. These are meant, this one is responsible for the body balance. Okay, so body balance is maintained by the structures which are cristae ampullaris and macula of the vestibular apparatus. And this is organ of Corti, which is mainly very important as per its internal structure. Clear, children? Understood everything? Now moving to the mechanism of hearing. How do we hear? When we say the pinna, it collects all the sound waves. तो क्या आती हैं सबसे पहले आती हैं sound waves. किसने collect की? Pinna के पास गई. Okay, and what will the pinna do? So obviously yes, these are directed towards the eardrum. ये बहुत ज़्यादा तेज़ आती हैं, तो these are directed in this way. तो इनकी frequency बहुत तेज़ होती है. They are coming in multi-direction, and these all are directed, transmitted by the way of waves or vibrations to the ear ossicles through the oval window. So pinna will collect them as vibrations which are transmitted through the ear ossicles where to oval window, and from the oval window they reach to the fluid. Where? Fluid of cochlea. That is the main one where the hair cells are located. Now the waves produced in the perilymph. Remember the fluid in which the membranes are located, membranous labyrinth is mainly suspended. This perilymph and endolymph, the fluid which is present inside the membranous labyrinth. This is outside the membranous labyrinth, in which membranous labyrinth is floating, and this one inside the membranous labyrinth. these two fluids show waves. It induces ripples in the basilar membrane. Now, when the ripples are there in the basilar membrane, these will bend the hair cells of organ of corti, which press them against tectorial membrane, and this pressing generates the nerve impulse. This pressing against the tectorial membrane generates nerve impulse. Nerve impulse in the associated afferent neurons. Obviously, afferent ones always take the message, not the efferent ones. And this transmit the impulse via auditory nerves. Auditory nerves to the auditory cortex of the brain. Auditory is for hearing. Auditory cortex region of the brain, mainly this is in the cerebrum, where the impulse is analyzed and the sound is recognized. This is how the mechanism takes place. Now we will talk about, are there any other organs which will help in this mechanism, or any other organ which is responsible for neural control and coordination? We should not forget tongue and nose. These are the two other sensory organs. So, nose, what does it do? It's an organ for smell and contains mucus coated receptors called olfactory receptors. These are specialized to receive sense of smell, and neurons of this olfactory epithelium, these extend from the external environment into a pair of olfactory bulbs. This is an extension of limbic system of the brain. Remember the limbic system? The limbic system which is responsible to alarm the body during the environmental conditions. Then is tongue. Organ of taste or gustation. That's why we say gustatory receptors detect taste through taste buds. What do the taste buds contain? These contain gustatory receptor, as well as these can detect chemicals dissolved in saliva. Clear, children? This is all about the chapter neural control and coordination.